Picture this. A revolver changes hands in 1985 for $800. Fast forward to today, and that same piece of steel and walnut just sold at auction for $52,000, while your brand new polymer pistol loses 20% of its value. The second you walk out of the gun store, there are 10 specific revolvers climbing in price faster than gold bullion, some of them tripling their value in just 5 years. Stick around, because what I am about to show you at number 1 will absolutely blow your mind, and might change how you think about firearms as investments forever. Let me start with number 10, and work up to the most valuable revolver on this list. Back in 1955, Bill Ruger looked at the old cowboy revolvers everyone loved and saw a problem. They were beautiful, but they could not handle the powerful new Magnum cartridges hitting the market without eventually shaking themselves apart. So he built something better. He took that classic single-action design and made it stronger, tougher, and ready for serious power. The early Ruger Blackhawk revolvers had what collectors call a flat-top design. No protective wings around the rear sight like you see on modern guns. Just a clean flat strap running along the top. Ruger only made these flat-top models for 7 years before changing the design in 1962. Only 30,000 were ever manufactured across all calibers, and that number shrinks every year as guns get lost, damaged, or locked away in collections that will never see the market again. The rarest versions, chambered in .44 Magnum with specific barrel lengths, are what collectors hunt for like treasure. First-year production guns with low serial numbers sell for double or triple the price of later models. While new Blackhawks sell for around $800, these vintage flat-top models have climbed steadily over the past decade. Smart collectors recognized early that not every valuable revolver needs a Colt horse stamped on the side. The advantages are obvious. Stronger frame than the original Colts. Handles powerful Magnum cartridges safely. Low serial numbers are worth more. Factory letters verify authenticity. Limited 7-year production run creates scarcity. But there are downsides too. No protective sight ears make them vulnerable to damage. Reproductions flood the market today, confusing buyers. Condition varies wildly on used examples. Some had timing issues in early production. Not all calibers are equally valuable. You are looking at $700 to $2,000 depending on condition and configuration. Number 9 takes us to Smith & Wesson. Before the company started using model numbers, they marked their top guns with just the caliber name stamped on the barrel. These transitional Magnums, made between 1946 and 1957, sit in a sweet spot for collectors who know what they are looking at. They were not custom registered like the ultra-rare registered Magnums, but they still got the royal treatment from master gunsmiths who hand-fitted every part. The deep blue finish on these guns puts modern production to absolute shame. They came with the new short-throw hammer that Smith introduced in 1950, making the trigger pull smoother and faster than earlier designs. These guns bridge the gap between the super expensive registered Magnums that cost $10,000 and up, and the common numbered models that came after 1957. Right now, collectors are waking up to the fact that these transitional guns offer similar quality at a fraction of the cost. Values have jumped significantly over the past 10 years as registered Magnums climbed out of reach for average collectors. The positives are clear. Hand-fitted by master craftsmen, deep polished blue finish quality, short-throw hammer improves shooting. Longer barrels command premium prices. Original boxes double the value instantly. But watch out for these issues. They are not registered like the earlier versions. The finish wears easily with regular use. Heavy recoil punishes new shooters. Grips crack over time frequently. Factory records are sometimes incomplete, making authentication harder. Expect to pay $4,000 to $7,000 for a nice example. Number 8 brings us to what many people call the Python's younger brother, the Colt Diamondback. Think of it as Python quality in a smaller package. Colt made these from 1966 to 1988 on their smaller D-frame. Perfect for people who wanted Python quality without carrying the extra weight. They came in 22 caliber and 38 special, featuring the same fancy ventilated rib on top and adjustable target sights as the Python. When Python prices went absolutely insane and shot past $8,000, collectors started hunting for more affordable Colt snake guns. Guns that sold for $500 10 years ago now bring double or triple that amount. The most common versions have 4-inch or 6-inch barrels with blue finish. The holy grail is the 22 Magnum with a tiny 2.5-inch barrel and nickel finish, so rare that crooks regularly make fake ones to fool buyers. First-year 1966 production guns carry extra value. Complete sets with original boxes, papers, and hang tags sell for $3,000 to $4,000 in excellent shape. Only 22 years of production means these guns are finite, and as Python mania continues, Diamondback values keep climbing. The advantages are solid, lighter weight than full Pythons, same quality sights and rib, 2 caliber options available. First-year guns worth significantly more. Python spillover demand continues rising, but be aware of the risks. Fakes flood the rare configurations, smaller frame limits, power options. Timing issues are common in used examples. Nickel-finished chips and peels. Not all barrel lengths are equally valuable. Price range runs $1,500 to $4,000. Quick question for you. Which Colt snake gun would you pick for your collection, and why? Drop your answer in the comments. Number 7 completely changed how revolvers work. Daniel Wesson's grandson started his own company and revolutionized revolver design in 1968. Instead of a barrel permanently screwed into the frame, Dan Wesson revolvers let you swap barrels in minutes using simple tools that came with the gun. The barrel shroud slides off, you unscrew the barrel with the included wrench, tension it properly with a nut at the front, and you're done. The real magic was the pistol pack, a complete set that typically included 4 different barrel lengths in a fitted case. You got a 2.5-inch barrel for concealed carry, 4 and 6-inch barrels for target work, and an 8-inch barrel for hunting. The Model 15-2, chambered in .357 Magnum, became their best seller. Guns made in Monson, Massachusetts between 1968 and 1990 are climbing in value steadily. Complete pistol packs in excellent condition sell for $1,500 to $2,500. Individual revolvers without the extra barrels bring $500 to $800. The benefits are amazing. Barrel swaps take only minutes. 4 guns in one package, essentially. Tension system improves accuracy greatly. Monson era quality is superior to later production. Rare calibers are undervalued currently, but there are drawbacks. Easy to lose the barrel tools. Tension must be checked regularly. Later production quality drops significantly. Complete sets rarely stay together over decades. Barrel assemblies are expensive to replace if lost. Price range is $500 to $2,500. Number 6 takes us back to Ruger and a gun that got a boost from Hollywood. When Dirty Harry made the Smith & Wesson .44 Magnum famous in 1971, Clint Eastwood also boosted another gun. Ruger had introduced the Super Blackhawk in 1959 specifically for the powerful .44 Magnum cartridge. This was not just a regular Blackhawk beefed up. It featured a larger grip frame borrowed from the old Dragoon revolvers with a square-back trigger guard and an unfluted cylinder that collectors recognize instantly. The old model Super Blackhawks made from 1959 to 1972 are the most collectible versions. Early examples came with a rare 6.5-inch barrel that collectors hunt for today like gold. Ruger only made these old models for 13 years before redesigning them with modern safety features in 1973. New model Super Blackhawks have been in production for over 50 years now, making the old models increasingly scarce. First year, 1959 guns with low 4-digit serial numbers exceed $1,000 in excellent condition. The positives are strong. Handles .44 Magnum reliably always. Unfluted cylinder gives distinctive-looking appearance. Old models only 13 years of production. 6.5-inch barrel is rare and valuable, cheaper than comparable Smith & Wessons. But consider these negatives. No transfer bar safety mechanism on old models. Heavy recoil punishes new shooters badly. Finish scratches easily with holster wear. Grip's too large for some shooters. Later models lack collector appeal entirely. Price range is $600 to $1,200. Number 5 is the most famous revolver in movie history. Dirty Harry, holding a .44 Magnum in 1971, created instant legend status. But the earliest model 29 revolvers, the pre-dash variants made from 1956 to 1958, are what serious collectors want. Smith & Wesson developed the .44 Magnum cartridge in 1955 after gunwriter Elmer Keith spent years pushing for a revolver that could handle heavy .44 special loads safely. Early 4-screw Model 29s, made between 1956 and 1958, sit in a completely different collector category than later production. Only about 6,500 were manufactured. Examples in excellent condition sell for double what later models bring. Potentially $2,000 to $4,000, depending on condition, barrel length, and history. Later dash variants like the Model 29-2, made from 1961 to 1982, are also collectible, especially rare 5-inch barrel versions that sell for 3 to 5 times standard values. The advantages are powerful. Most famous movie revolver in history. Early production extremely limited in quantity. 5-inch barrels worth triple standard prices. Nickel finish commands premium prices always. Cultural significance keeps growing every year, but watch for these problems. Heavy recoil is difficult to control. Ammunition expensive to shoot regularly. Dash numbers confuse new collectors badly. Later production flooded the market. Dirty Harry fakes exist everywhere online. Price range is $1,000 to $4,000. Here's a question for you. Have you ever fired a .44 Magnum and did it live up to the Dirty Harry hype? Let me know your experience below. Number 4 is the gun that won the West. The United States Army adopted the Colt single-action army in 1873, and it served soldiers, lawmen, outlaws, and ranchers across the frontier for decades. Nicknamed the Peacemaker, This revolver stayed in production with interruptions for over 150 years. First generation SAAs, made from 1873 to 1941, command serious collector money today. These break into two main categories: black powder frame revolvers from 1873 to 1898, and smokeless powder frame from 1899 to 1941. Values swing wildly based on condition, caliber, barrel length, and history. A well-preserved black powder frame in excellent condition runs $5,000 to $15,000. Rare variants like the flat-top target model made from 1890 to 1898 with only 914 produced or original U.S. cavalry contract guns exceed $20,000 easily. In May 2025, the Black Beauty Colt SAA serial number 126506, engraved by master craftsman Nimschke in 1888, sold for $1,645,000 at Rock Island auction. First generation SAAs in original condition. With factory authentication letters are not being made anymore. Every year, more enter permanent museum collections. Demand from wealthy collectors keeps growing steadily. The advantages are extraordinary. Historical frontier significance is unmatched completely. Black powder frames are most valuable versions. Rare variants exceed $20,000 easily. Factory letters authenticate everything properly. Museum quality examples still exist for sale, but beware these challenges. Values swing wildly by tiny details. Fakes and frauds are extremely common. Parts get replaced over 100 years. Condition grading requires expertise always. Second generation models are much less valuable. Price range is $5,000 to over $1 million. Number 3 represents one of the most specialized variations ever made. The Colt Bisley model single action army was introduced in 1894 specifically for target shooters who demanded better accuracy and control than the standard SAA provided. The Bisley featured a distinctive grip design with a deeper curve and longer grip frame that positioned the gun lower in the hand for better recoil management. The hammer was wider and lower mounted with deeper checkering pattern for precise thumb cocking. Colt only manufactured Bisley models from 1894 to 1912. Just 18 years of production. Compared to the SAA's Century Plus run, the Bisley is genuinely rare. It came in various calibers with different barrel lengths and rare configurations, and original condition command serious premiums today. Famous owners added significant value to specific examples. Actor Audie Murphy's personal Bisley sold for a substantial premium at auction because of the documented ownership history. Standard Bisley models in excellent condition sell for $8,000 to $15,000. Rare calibers, exceptional condition, or documented celebrity ownership push values into the $20,000 to $40,000 range. The positives are significant. Only 18 years production period total. Target-specific design features are unique. Famous ownership examples exist and are documented. Lower production numbers than standard SAA. Grip design is superior for accuracy work. But consider these negatives carefully. Parts are difficult to find today. Specialized design is not everyone's taste. Requires expert authentication always before buying. Caliber variations confuse beginners badly. Condition grading is extremely difficult even for experts. Price range is $8,000 to $40,000. Number 2 is what many consider the finest production revolver ever made. Since Colt introduced the Python in 1955, people called it perfection. Built on Colt's large I-frame, it featured a ventilated rib, full underlug, adjustable target sights, and Colt's signature royal blue finish that looked almost black in certain light. Early production Pythons. Particularly, first and second year models are the most valuable today by far. Colt stopped making Pythons in 1999 because the hand-fitting process cost too much money and time. Prices immediately started climbing after production ended. When Colt brought the Python back in 2020 using modern manufacturing methods, collectors worried it would crash vintage values. The opposite happened. Demand for original hand-fitted Pythons absolutely exploded. December 2024 saw multiple Pythons shatter auction estimates at Rock Island. The first production Colt Python Elite serial number PE00001 sold for $15,275. A 1986 Python with rare 2.5-inch barrel brought $80,225. The advantages are undeniable. Hand-fitted by master gunsmiths one at a time. Early production is most valuable always. Nickel finish is extremely rare variant. Short barrels command huge premiums today. New production actually validates vintage values. But watch for these issues. Timing issues develop with regular use. Royal blue finish is delicate and scratches easily. Reproductions confuse new buyers greatly. Heavyweight makes carry purposes difficult. Modern Pythons completely lack the hand-fitting process. Price range is $8,000 to $15,000. Here's my question for you. Do you think the new Colt Pythons will ever match the value of vintage hand-fitted originals? Share your prediction in the comments. Number 1 is not just a firearm. It is a museum piece that represents the birth of an entire category. The Smith & Wesson 357 registered Magnum, produced from 1935 to 1939, was not mass-produced. Each one was a custom-ordered work of art, hand-built to the buyer's exact specifications and assigned a unique registration number by Douglas Wesson himself. In the early 1930s, law enforcement faced heavily armed criminals with Thompson submachine guns and semi-automatic rifles. Douglas Wesson, grandson of Smith and Wesson's co-founder, worked with famous gun writers Phil Sharp and Elmer Keith to develop a cartridge more powerful than anything available at the time. The result was the 357 Magnum, introduced April 8, 1935, as the most powerful handgun cartridge in the world. These registered Magnums cost $60, which is equivalent to $1,413 in 2024 money. Customers specified every single detail, blue or nickel finish with fewer than 150 made in nickel. Master gunsmiths hand-fitted each revolver, a process taking 3 to 4 weeks initially and later 6 weeks as demand surged. Upon completion, each gun was stamped with a serial number and registration number, starting with the letters Reg. The company then issued a certificate signed by Douglas Wesson, confirming the owner's name, registration number, and all custom features specified. Only about 5,400 total registered Magnums were manufactured during the 5-year production run. These are not just collectible revolvers. They are museum pieces that represent the birth of Magnum handgun cartridges and custom firearm craftsmanship at its absolute peak. The advantages are extraordinary. Each gun was custom-built uniquely to order. Douglas Wesson signed certificates personally himself. Only 5-year production period total, fewer than 150 made in nickel, birth of the Magnum handgun era entirely. But understand these challenges. Extremely expensive to acquire today. Many registration cards are lost forever. Condition varies dramatically across examples. Shooting one actually decreases value significantly. Authentication requires expert verification always before purchase. Price range is $7,500 to $100,000 and beyond. These 10 revolvers are not just guns sitting in safes collecting dust. They are investments outperforming the stock market while you sleep at night. If you found this information valuable, smash that like button and subscribe right now so you never miss the next breakdown of what is actually worth your hard-earned money in the firearms world.